The Cowboys and the Giants, an NFC East matchup. Doesn't it feel like we see this game every year in primetime? Oh, that's right, because we do. Because we do. They will meet in prime time for the 10th time in the past 12 years. Let me repeat that for those of you. A little slow. It's early in the morning or middle of the night, depending where you are. So last 12 seasons, 10 of those 12 seasons, we have had Giants-Cowboys. Dallas, over the last 9 games, is 8-1 in the previous 9 primetime matchups. However, but wait, there's more. The boys have lost back-to-back games coming into this. And so Troy Aikman, he chimed in. Remember him? Yeah. Troy Aikman chimed in there. He believes that there is some behind-the-scenes drama-o-rama playing out with those Dallas Cowboys. Let's go to the audio tape.
As much as a must-win could be here in Week 4, I think it's really important. And I think it goes beyond just what the record would be if they were to lose. I think that I just sense that there's some uneasiness within the locker room, whatever that might entail. It just feels like there's some rumblings, and another loss, could just create more issues internally. Forget whatever they have to answer to externally. So I think that, winning is the ultimate deodorant, as we know. They definitely need a win.
All right, so that was Aikman on PTI. So let us discuss the question for you and for everyone else. Troy Aikman, you just heard him, the money part of that, he said that there's some uneasiness, that was his word, uneasiness in the Cowboy locker room. What does that signify to you? All right, so I've got John F. Kennedy, nail polish, and Stamford, Connecticut. And we will combine all of these random things together, and we will complete the update on the computer here in the studio. For the last hour, my computer has been updating. It's not my computer, it's the company computer. And again, I want to thank them for not inconveniencing Colin Cowherd or Dan Patrick or anyone else. It's the overnight where they make sure all the computers have software updated. I appreciate that, the degree of difficulty. So to kick off here, in terms of what Aikman said about the uneasiness around the Cowboy locker room, that is standard chow, is what that is, right? Troy Aikman, he knows the circle of life in the NFL, and if things are going well, everything's great, and you start losing, and what happens, right? The mantra of this show applies. The mantra of this show, one of our mantras, we say this every NFL Sunday into Monday. The better story is in the losing locker room. And as John F. Kennedy said in his day, victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. It's true, right? When you win, everyone wants to hang out with you. The food tastes better. The alcohol is flowing. When you lose, you're a schmuck, right? Everyone rips you. You're losers and all. You start pointing fingers. And the Cowboys are smoldering right now. They're 1-2. They're smoldering, and they have all the ingredients of a tinderbox. You got big personalities. Check, right? Jerry Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. Get the old popcorn ready to go for those Dallas Cowboys. Now, furthermore, we pivot away from Dallas. By the way, I like the Giants tonight plus the points if you're into that kind of thing. We'll be taping the TV show later today. I'm looking forward to that. Another episode of Benny versus the Penny will be up later on Friday. Not today. We tape it today, and then it'll be on Friday. Doesn't get any fresher than that. So, furthermore, to the Carolinas we go. Bryce Young has an estimated return value on the trade market of a day 3 pick. Do you see this? So that means that Bryce Young went from number one to a 4th-round pick in the span of a couple of years. So how does that change things for Carolina? All right, so my theory on this is, hey, they shot their shot. They wanted this player. They traded land, massive amounts of land, real estate to get Bryce Young, and he can't play. And it's not the coaches, it's not the teammates, because Andy Dalton went in there with the same crappy teammates and the same crappy coaches and was wonderful. So at least Andy Dalton gives him a chance to be competitive. So my advice to the Panthers here is to use some salesmanship. Don't trade Bryce Young right now. What you do is a marketing campaign. Let me explain. You start planting stories about how great he looks in practice and how he's the first one in the building, the last one out. He's got a great attitude. And what you do is you buy some nail polish. Not like the quarterback in Chicago, but you buy some nail polish and you start putting nail polish on the hangnail, because at this point, Bryce Young is essentially a hangnail. Now, you can't trade Bryce Young right now because that's embarrassing. You still have a second-round pick the Bears are going to get next year in 2025 as a result of that trade. So if you're not going to even get that in return, which you're not, that's embarrassing. So you have to wait, but I would try a little gamesmanship and attempt to convince some sucker out there that Bryce Young is salvageable and he's got a lot of ability and all this stuff, and not that he looks like he has no chance to be anything more than a ball boy, which is what it looks like right now. All right, last thing. I know you boys are going to get triggered, so I'll make this quick. But we'll go to pro bouncy ball. The NBA is underway. They had media day. There'll be exhibition games starting on Friday. The Celtics play an exhibition game on Friday somewhere overseas. It's early in the morning, I think 9 a.m. Eastern time. They'll be starting the NBA exhibition season. But it's not about the Celtics. A Laker coach and podcaster, J.J. Redick, recently said that LeBron and Bronny James, that these two will be involved in the ongoing discussions for how the team will execute this historical basketball moment, father-son dynamic duo, when they share the court together for the very first time. I know you're very worried about that. So you got Bronny and LeBron, and they are in cahoots with when they're going to play. All right, so let us discuss. How does that sound? Well, it sounds to me like it's right out of the offices of an office tower in Stamford, Connecticut. Now, about 10, actually it's been more than that, it's probably 12 years ago, I worked, I had another job at NBC where I went back to Connecticut every month, and I did a TV thing in Stamford, Connecticut. And there's not much in Stamford, Connecticut, other than like Bobby Valentine had a restaurant there, and the headquarters of the WWE were in Stamford, Connecticut. I think they still are. And so I bring up Stamford, Connecticut because it's right out of the offices of the WWE, right? Professional wrestling. There's no mention of whether or not Bronny James even is worthy of a spot on the Laker roster. He wasn't good enough to play any meaningful role in the old Pac-12 conference last year. But now we're told he's supposed to get valuable minutes in the NBA. And the other thing that's rather obvious here, we all know this, that J.J. Redick is just a sock puppet for LeBron James. He was his podcast buddy. They're besties from the podcast. And so whatever LeBron wants, LeBron gets. Now, I've not looked at the Lakers schedule. Why would I? But I wonder, are the Lakers playing the Cavaliers early in the year? Could that be the game that they set up, made for TV, LeBron against his old team, and it's maybe even in Cleveland, although I think the Lakers want that to be in L.A. so they can have that moment, the historians. But it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. No one's even doubting that Bronny James is going to be on the roster and is going to play at least a couple of games to start the year. And it's a capital N on nepotism, right? Special privilege. It's a fait accompli. That's going to happen. But we'll worry about that when it does happen. I just thought J.J. Redick, being transparent, saying, yeah, they'll be involved in the discussions. We'll let them decide, pretty much. That's what it sounded like to me.